application mistakes. Also begin to craft your own CV summary and also cover letter introductions. So, understanding the job market. So just for context, recruiters today receive hundreds of applications and they are looking for relevance. They are looking for clarity. They are looking for value. Yeah. So as you're applying for any job, just keep in your mind that your application must be relevant to the job that they are trying to recruit for. And your CV must be presentable in terms of structure and clarity. And it must be able to demonstrate achievements. And then you must have some level of professionalism. Your CV and cover letter must also answer the question, why should we choose you and not every other person? There are times you get an open application and then you find over 500 people applying. Now the question is, why should we choose you? Why not the rest of the people but you? And you can only demonstrate that through your application and CV because that is the first thing that they see. The importance of first impression. Because at this point, you are not yet there to defend yourself or to tell somebody that, yes, I can do this. Yeah. Most recruiters take about 6 to 10 seconds to scan through your CV and be able to tell if you're a fit or not. Basically, it seems unfair, but imagine you're looking at over 100 applications here. You may not have that luxury to go into details. That's why the first impression matters. And if you have a poorly formatted document, it's not very clear, maybe has spelling errors and all that, then you definitely make the work of the recruiter very easy because they can just toss your application aside and move to the next applicant. Your application is also a marketing tool. So you must make it to count because it's what is talking when you're not there. Right. Okay. So a CV is a comprehensive document that outlines a full academic and professional history, including your education, work experience, skills, and achievements. It's not just a document. It's more like your career story or a profile. Unlike a resume, which is more brief and tailored, a CV provides a detailed chronological view of your qualification. When I talk about chronological, I talk about emphasis in terms of the most recent, going back to the past years. So in that chronological order. Can the person mute? So in terms of emphasis, CVs are more in-depth, more detailed compared to a resume. A resume might be very concise and summary, usually 1 to 2 pages, and it's commonly used for tailored work. Like if you're tailoring your application for um, specific sectors, for example, business related fields, then resume works best because it provides a very concise summary because sometimes when you're applying, they have limitation in terms of size of document and all that. So a resume work best in specific context. But a CV is more general and can be used in a number of sectors, including the NGO world, the public sector uh, jobs, and also for academic roles. So the key distinction between a CV and a resume is that CVs are more mainly in depth, while resumes are more shorter and shaped just to provide a basic summary. So that's the only difference that is there between a CV and a resume. So I've outlined a couple of differences here. For instance, in terms of the length, you have 2 to 3 pages or more for a CV because we said it is more detailed and it outlines your work experience and education in a chronological manner. So it's more detailed, but it can go beyond that. Meanwhile, a resume is simply a one pager or two, not more than that. Then the purpose is that full career documentation. Yeah. For a CV, it provides details in terms of your career. And then for resume, they are targeted for specific applications. In terms of the usage, CVs are mainly used in NGOs, in academia, international applications, and also the public sector. Meanwhile, resumes are mainly used for the business and private sectors. And in terms of customization, CVs are often general with light edits. Meanwhile, resumes are highly customized. And I've mentioned the bigger difference, which is in terms of depth, which is where the CV is more detailed, and then the resume is simply brief and summarized. So, quickly to look at the components of a CV. Every CV must include a clear contact details, a very strong personal summary, your education background, your work experiences, your skills, your achievements, if there are any, or projects that you've worked on based on your profile. There are people who work on projects, so they include the kind of project they work on their CVs, and also provision for references. So this is your chance to show both what you've done and what you bring to the table for the potential employer. And we have quite a number of types of CVs. We have the chronological CV. This is most this is the most common format of CV, and it is ideal if you have a clear career progression. So for you to use the chronological CV, you must have a very clear career progression, and then you start with your most recent job, and then you work backwards. So it lists your experience in reverse order with the most recent first. And then it emphasizes career progression because you must be able to demonstrate that this is where you came from. Yeah. And then it's ideal for candidates with consistent work history. And then it's commonly used and widely accepted by many employers or recruiters. And it's best suited for professionals with a clear, stable job path, and then also suited for roles where experience is highly valued. Then the second one is a functional CV. A functional CV focuses on skills instead of timelines. Um, it the emphasis on dates, like it does not put a lot of emphasis in terms of dates and job title. What is what it focuses on is more on the skills and competences. Yeah, it's useful for people who are changing their careers or those who have employment gaps in their career. So if you're changing your career, you rather use a functional CV. It's best for fresh graduates because they don't have a lot of experience to demonstrate in their CV. So they will simply demonstrate their skills. And then also those switching careers and candidates with limited formal experience. Some people would graduate and not get formal jobs or employment, and so they can use this type of CV to present themselves when applying for jobs. Then we have the last one, which is a combination. It blends both the
Excuse me.
function. Yes, please.
There's someone who has shared a whiteboard, which is interrupting the live stream. So kindly stop sharing and then reshare your screen so that it displaces the whiteboard. I don't know who has done that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm
Yes.
trying to see the. Just mistakenly, I went on the whiteboard.
Yeah, it's being resolved. Thank you.
Just confirm if you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay.
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear.
Okay, great. So I was on the last one where I was saying that a combination CV that blends both functional and also the chronological CV. It highlights both your skills and work history. And I think most of us are using the combination CV mostly, and most recruiters also focuses more on using the combination CV because they want to be able to see the skills that you're having, also detailing your work history. It offers flexibility because you can now use this opportunity to provide an in-depth description of your of your work history and also your skills. And this type of CV is best suited for professionals with varied but relevant experience, and also those who want to showcase both skills and roles they've done in the past that relates to the current job that they are applying for. So those are the three types of CV that are out there. So when you are applying for a job, you should know what type of CV that you are presenting to any recruiter out there. Then let's move to tailoring your CV. So there is no one CV that does fit all jobs. I've seen situations where I've put an advert for different roles, but I have just this one candidate who uses the same CV to apply for the different roles. You get. So one CV does not fit all jobs. You must be able to tailor your CV. You must align your CV with each job description. Whenever you're applying, you tailor because there are some things that do not align with the current job you're applying for. For instance, when you're putting your experience, you don't put every experience in your CV because some of us have a number of experiences. You don't put everything in the CV. You only put those specific experiences or skills that makes you the best fit for the role that you're applying for. So if you decide to use the same for different roles, you risk not being selected because then your CV will not be communicating how you are the best candidate for the role. You should be able to, so mostly when you're tailoring your CV, you should pay attention to key things. For example, recruiters want to see how your experiences matches their job. So if somebody is recruiting for a HR manager and you are applying for that role, you should be able to demonstrate how in the past whatever you've done can align or fit with the role of a HR manager. It doesn't necessarily mean that you must previously be a HR manager, no. You can be a HR officer now and want to apply for HR manager role, you get. So whenever you're describing what you've done in the role of an officer, now you must demonstrate how whatever role you've performed as an officer can help you perform in the role of a manager. That's what they want to see in your CV. Then a generic CV may be overlooked. Even if you're very qualified, it may be overlooked. So make sure you customize your CV specifically to that role. What I mean by generic is that you simply put everything there, like including where you went to your maybe primary school, some roles that you did, maybe a volunteer work that took you maybe even 2 weeks, you put it there. It does not even align with the job. It's simply generic. It's everything. And then it goes even past the number of pages that you must have for a formal CV document. You get. So once you present a generic CV, you are creating some level of bias in the mind of the recruiter, and then you stand a chance of not being selected to go further. So tailor your CVs to show effort, to show clarity, and also to show relevance. Reflect the organization's tone and showcase the experiences that matches their need. Okay. How to tailor your CV. So if you want to tailor your CV properly, read the job description carefully and highlight keywords that are required. Keywords in the job description, key skills in the job description, highlight those and make sure that you reflect those ones in your CV. And then mirror the language that is being used. If you are tailoring your CV, you must mirror the language of the recruiter. If the job advert or description says project coordinator or project coordination or communication, use that phrase if relevant. Don't go looking for words somewhere else. Yeah. Mirror the language. Whatever language they are using there, you must be able to mirror it in your CV. The way you can do that is by ensuring that you align each role with what you have previously done and see which matches with which, and then you can showcase that in your CV. Then you should prioritize relevant experience. Don't put everything in the CV, just prioritize the relevant ones. And then adjust your personal summary. Sorry about that. So in your personal summary, you should clearly state how you match the role and the organization. And then you must also demonstrate achievements that align with the job. So for every role that you have put that you had previously done, quantify the results where possible. Don't leave it blank. Okay. So some common CV mistakes for you to avoid are spelling and grammar errors. Make sure that you go through your documents thoroughly and ensure that they are spelling or grammar free. If possible, get somebody to read it for you. These days, there are tools that can help you proofread, like Grammarly that you can use. It can help you proofread your document to ensure that they're spelling free and also grammar errors that are not there, so that you don't look like somebody who needs to again be trained on the job. Then another common mistake for you to avoid is using one generic CV for all the jobs. I've said that. Ensure that you are tailoring your CV for the specific job that you're applying for. That way, you are able to stand a chance of being selected for an interview. And then poor formatting. I've seen instances where people send in CV and they're like poorly formatted. You see, the other one is centered, the other one is the other side. Uh, Even the fonts are not uniform. Here is Time New Romance, there is book something and all that. So it's simply cluttered everywhere. And then there is a lot of inconsistency. It does not look clean because you are using different colors. It's not readable because the spacing is also not there. It's not organized because you can see here you're talking about this, the next time you jump there and there. So you must ensure that your CV is properly formatted. Then another mistake for you to avoid is listing your duties instead of achievements. So for instance, don't say what you did, yeah, in your CV. So the impact that you created in your previous role. And use numbers or results where possible. For example, saying I increased efficiency by this, increased productivity by this percentage and all that, or reduce hiring time by this time, you know. So quantify your results. Don't just leave it blank. And then another common mistake for you to avoid is outdated information. So just eliminate any irrelevant information. Some things like hobbies these days are very outdated. Nobody wants to see that. If they're interested in asking, they'll ask for you for it in the interview. Some jobs, their experiences that you've had, they're outdated. Maybe like 5 years ago, they do not relate to the current role that you're trying to apply for. Skills that you've acquired a long time ago that are not relevant for the current role. So remove any outdated information from your CV. Don't keep it there because it makes your document or CV crowded, and whatever relevant information somebody wants to see becomes hidden among this outdated information. And then omitting dates or job titles. So be transparent about your work history. For example, if you're saying the position, this role, a project officer, then at Excellence Foundation from maybe 2022 to 2023 or to date. Yeah. So don't omit dates because somebody wants to see when you were there, how long you stayed there, or if you're currently working there. So don't omit the dates. Don't forget to put the title that you held because that is the basis they will use to look at what you've been doing in that role. Okay. Um, so I want us to also look at a CV summary. Most people have failed to write a proper summary in their CV. So I've put here an example of a weak personal statement or a summary. For instance, you write your CV summary and say, I'm a hardworking and motivated individual looking for a job in a dynamic organization where I can learn and grow. You get. This one is a very weak statement. It looks very generic. Look, compare this with number two. Results driven HR professional with 3+ years experience in UC. Now, the statement is mentioning what and what the person was doing. Yeah. Then is able to demonstrate what they have been able to accomplish in that role. Streamline onboarding process, support organizational growth, and what is their drive? Creating inclusive, high-performing teams. You get. So your summary must be able to demonstrate already how you fit or align with the job. The after version is specific, it's very confident and achievement oriented. And this is what recruiters remember when they're looking at your CV. This is what gets stuck in their mind and get you to be shortlisted for any interview at all. Okay, let's also look at an example on work experience. For instance, you're listing your experience like assisted with recruitment, helped organize files. So you are basically listing the things you did. But the after, where you have now formatted and customized your CV, should look like something coordinated end-to-end recruitment process. Because when you're saying assisted with recruitment, meaning you are supporting. Okay. So when you say assisted in recruitment, basically you assisted, maybe you are the one who took the advert somewhere, you supported with scheduling interview, whatever, whatever. But you have not quantified the results. And you've not also said how many recruitments you've supported. So in the after format, you were able to see that this person has coordinated end-to-end recruitment for 15 plus roles and reducing hiring time by 20%. So this particular example of what the person has done is able to demonstrate already that the candidate is able to fully conduct the function of recruitment he get. The difference between this and the first one is that in the first one, she's just saying, I assisted with recruitment. But number two is saying how they did that, how well they did it, and what impact they've been able to create. So in your CV, when you're writing your work experiences, you must be able to demonstrate this, that this is what you did, how you did it, and this is the result that you got out of it, which must be quantified. That's why you're saying reduce hiring time by 20% or maintained 100 plus employee records. You're already quantifying uh, the results. So when don't say what you did. So the impact, what impact you had, use numbers, use action verbs, and clarity are very powerful. The moment somebody sees there's some level of clarity in how your document is speaking, they will be able to give you that chance and be able to shortlist you. And then you have now the opportunity to go and defend yourself and even express how you are the perfect fit for the candidate. Yes. So that's basically everything for a CV. Um, just to confirm from you, Bida, do you want the candidates to have questions here, or I should just proceed and do the questioning later? Are you there, Mr. Bida?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so we're through with sessions on the CV. I was just asking, do we have any questions on the CV?
Yes, I have a question.
Please proceed to ask your question.
Okay, my question is I came across this advert and you said there is a difference between a resume and a CV. You said a CV should be detailed and a resume, like it should be detailed of about 3 pages. And then a resume is about 2 pages. But then on this advert, they were like, it is a CV, but it should be 2 pages. If you exceed 2 pages, then you will be disqualified. So on that one, what do you do in your CV to narrow it down to be like 2 pages?
The advert saying the CV should be 2 pages only?
Yes, 2 pages only. If you exceed 2 pages, it will be disqualified.
Okay, so some recruiters have restriction in terms of the size of document they receive. So if somebody is telling you you must have a CV that does not exceed 2 pages, so make sure that you include only relevant information. For instance, you don't put all your work experiences. You simply put experiences that relate directly to the role that you're applying for. Also, under each experience, don't put uh, all your achievements. Prioritize key achievements that stand out, that can make you be seen out from the crowd. So prioritize that. That will help you reduce the length of your CV. Also, in terms of the skills, don't put every skill that you have. Provide key skills that will help you stand out. That somebody, when they look at these skills, they know that these are great for you to be able to perform on the job. And then there are some sections like references. If you don't have enough if you have limitation in terms of how many pages, you can also do away with the reference and you just put a note available upon request, so that they know that maybe you didn't have space to provide it, but they'll ask for it and then you can provide it. Yeah. So those are some of the things you can do. And then, like I mentioned, eliminate unnecessary information like, oh, my hobbies and whatever, whatever. Do away with them. That way you are able to fit all necessary information into the 2 page that they're asking for. But those kind of conditions usually come because of the size of the document the organizations put on their drive, like drive system. For instance, if you're sending, it must not exceed this size. So the bigger it is, it will not go through the email. So it must fit whatever size that they are talking about. Also, try to combine your document into one. For instance, you can have a one-page application letter and then maybe now the 2 page CV. Then you are able to reduce the size in terms of bytes, and then you can be able to send them all at once. I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
Great. Any other question? Anybody has any question? Okay, so we can move on to our cover letters. I have this. So now we will be shifting to writing our cover letters. So think of the cover letter as your personal pitch. Yeah. It's not the repetition of your CV. A cover letter gives you a chance to tell the employer now why you are actually the perfect fit. So a cover letter is a formal document that you submit with your CV to introduce yourself and explain why you are the perfect fit for that position. And then it connects your skills, experiences, and motivation to the needs. of the organizations. The basic structure of a cover letter is that you must have at least not more than 4 paragraphs. Have an introduction providing details in terms of the position that you're applying for, where maybe you saw that advert, and also briefly express your interest or enthusiasm for the role. And then 1 or 2 middle paragraphs where you are explaining now what you're bringing in terms of your value proposition and how this aligns with the role. Talk about uh, what you're doing currently that aligns with the role. Talk about what you did previously that aligns with the role. Talk about the skills that you know that aligns with the role. Talk about the tools that you know that aligns with the role. So the middle paragraph details your value proposition in terms of what you have that aligns with the role. And then the last one is the conclusion. Why them? Show that you've already researched the organization. For example, talk about how their values or whatever they are doing aligns with your own personal value. Explain why you want to work there. Explain how you want to work, how your values align with that of the organization, and also include a call to action in terms of inviting them for further communication, inviting them to take the next steps in terms of inviting you for an interview. So your cover letter must have only these 3 basic structure. And make sure you do not exceed 1 page with your cover letter. Whatever you have to write, make sure it fits within 1 page, not more. So some strategies for you in terms of do's and don'ts. The first do is that you should customize your application letter or cover letter for each job. Just like the CV, don't say maybe now that I've customized the CV, I will not customize the application letter. It will not work out because each job is different. So you must be able to write each application differently for each job. Then if you know the person, address it to a person. If you don't know, address it to a recruitment team. Normally, the recruiters would write in the advert address to maybe this department or to this person or to the organization. Yeah. So you should be able to address it appropriately. And then match the tone of the organization. Whatever is that has been communicated in the advert, please make sure that your application letter is already matching that tone. Then the last one is to keep it concise and clear. That means ensure there's absolute clarity in whatever you're writing in terms of why you are the perfect fit for the job. Don't exceed 1 page and use very clear fonts. Format your document properly to ensure that it provides the first good impression for you whenever anybody opens to look at it. And some don'ts. Don't copy paste your CV. For instance, there are so many things that you would say in your CV. Don't copy them and bring them to the application letter because it doesn't work that way. You can only reference particular things that you're highlighting. For instance, in terms of skill, you can talk about now your skill that you've already detailed in your CV. But don't put everything in the CV on the application letter because then you will already exceed the 1 page. Do not use generic phrases like I am writing to apply for the job. Be specific and writing to apply. Mention the position that you're applying for. Show that you went through the advert, you've read it, you know what you are talking about. Also, do not exceed 1 page for any application letter. Don't forget to proofread. If you don't have somebody next to you, use Grammarly or any other online site to proofread your application letter to ensure that they are error-free or grammar-free. Customize your application or cover letter properly. Okay, and then when you are applying, your cover letter must show some personality. Yeah, it must show your personality in the cover letter and also demonstrate some level of professionalism through your cover letter. Okay, so aligning your cover letter. When you're writing your cover letter, you should ensure that it aligns with the job description as detailed in the advert. Why alignment matters is that recruiters will compare your application directly with the job description or the advert. Yeah, they will compare that. If they are looking for an officer for this, they will compare. They want to see if they want a communications officer, they want to see if you had previously held the role of a communications officer. If they said one of your roles should be that you should do a content creation, they want to see whether you have any content creation in your application. If you don't demonstrate that, they will toss your application aside because they would be feeling like it does not fit or it does not align with the kind of person they are looking for. Tailor your application to show that you understand the role and the organization. When you align your applications properly, the recruiters would feel like, okay, this person is actually a fit for our organization because now you are using tones, you are demonstrating that their values and your values are in alignment. And that is very key in terms of organizational culture because sometimes people recruit more for culture than also technical skills because they believe that any technical skill can be learned or trained on the job. But things to do with values and culture usually are very, very difficult to train on. Alignment also increases your chances of being shortlisted. When you align your cover letter properly, it gives you a higher chance. It makes your application to stand out among the several other applications. So how do you align your application? We've mentioned the keywords from the job advert. Use the keywords the way they are. Then mirror the language that is used by the employer. Match your skills and achievements to the listed requirements. Whatever requirements that you've read, if you are to create content, make sure you are listing in your achievements that you have done content creation before, or you have skills in content creation. Maybe you've been trained on it, maybe you've done it before, and this is how much. You can even demonstrate how many content you've created in the past, maybe in a day, or in a week, or in a month, and how much visibility or engagement you've been able to bring to the organization. So you must be able to demonstrate that your skills and achievements, you must be able to demonstrate that your skills and achievements properly align with that of the job advert and then reflect their values and mission in your motivation. Because in your CV, in your application, you are indicating why you are the perfect fit by mentioning your motivation. What has motivated you to apply for this position? So you can reference what their mission is all about and how this mission or value aligns with you. Okay. So I have put a sample comparison in terms of the job advert versus a cover letter line. For instance, if the job advert says, looking for a self motivated team player with excellent communication skills and project coordination skill. So, a very strong cover letter line would read something like this. In my previous role at ABC Foundation, I independently coordinated multiple donor funded projects and regularly led team briefings, skills that I believe align closely with the need for a self motivated communicator. You get. So that's how you are able to reference keywords from the advert and use it in your application or your cover letter. The moment you do that, you are giving an opportunity for the recruiter to want to go further, to want to look at details. And now it gives you the opportunity to stand out among the rest of the applicants who have not been able to tailor their cover letter properly. Okay. Um, so here are some of the very key takeaways that your CV and cover letter are your marketing tools. So you must make them targeted and impactful. Always customize, regardless of what happened. Don't be in a hurry to submit your application letter. Always ensure that your application and CV are customized. Use clear formatting, action verbs, and measurable achievements. A strong cover letter adds personality and shows a motivation. Attention to detail equals professionalism and better chances. So I'll open up for a few Q&A on the cover letter as well. Anybody that has a question on the cover letter, please go ahead.
There's one question: is the best cover letter for a fresh graduate? That is,
Yes, please.
that. Have you gotten me?
No.
There's a question from Moses Aliga in the chat box. He's asking, what would be the best cover letter for a fresh graduate?
What would be the best cover letter for a fresh graduate? Okay.
And then we have Leju. Leju is asking that, is there any preferred font type or size? Because we look at the cover letter being one page. So what font size are preferred or would you recommend? And then he's saying that he's asking this because some font sizes or types could make someone to exceed a page with key information to include in the cover letter. So what font type and sizes are preferred? So these are the two questions that are found in the chat box. Yeah, and then also one person is one person was asking, yes, that why is your video not on?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, so those are the
Okay.
three questions. Yeah, you can start with them. And then, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions on the cover letter, you can also ask. If you are in a noisy place, you can just drop your question in the chat box. And also, if you are in a place that can allow you to speak, you can just unmute and speak. Um, yes, so can you, maybe you can start with those two. And then I see
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
another one that came in.
Okay. Let's do the first two questions. So we'll start with the best cover letter or a great cover letter for a fresh graduate. So it's true that if you're a fresh graduate, you don't have any real life or field experiences, yeah? But you have motivation, you have the relevant academic background, you have transferable skills, yeah? And then you have values that aligns with the organizations. So when you're writing your cover letter, you must clearly demonstrate you a very strong interest, because now being a fresh graduate, you must be able to demonstrate. You can say something like, as a recent graduate in this field from this university, I'm excited about the opportunity to contribute to your team and apply my knowledge in something like that. You can say something like that. And then you must use transferable skills. Yeah. In your field of study, there are things that you are doing. You are doing courseworks, you are doing class presentations, those are skills that you can use and transfer to the workplace, because that is what shaped you or what is shaping you to be a very good employee. You can say something like, throughout my academic journey, I focused heavily on, and you can mention the relevant courseworks or project that you're doing, where I developed strong skills in, then you mentioned some of those skills. For instance, if your field of study was in maybe marketing, yeah, then you mentioned related skills that you do in that field. That way, you are able to demonstrate already that you have skills that align with the roles that they are advertising. And then you can also mention things that goes beyond academics. For instance, volunteer work. If you volunteered anywhere, you can mention that. If you did internship, you can mention that. Those are some of the things that you can include in your application to make them stand out. And the same goes for your CV, because now you need to provide some level of what you've done, whether it is internship, whether it's volunteer work, it's a part-time role, whatever you've done, you can put it in there to be able to demonstrate that yes, you don't have that much experience, but this is the far you've done, and puts you in a position to compete for the role. I hope that answers your question. Then for the font, for a professional document, the most preferred font type and font size. For example, the font type, you use Calibri, the modern and clean type. It's commonly used for professional writing. You can also use Arial. You can also use Times New Roman. You can use Cambria and Georgia. So those are the 5 that you can use for your professional documents. It's a CV, it's a profile, it's application letter. You can use those. Excuse me. Then the font size, you can do body text, mainly 1 pt or 11 or 12, like font size 11 or 12. If your content is big, put at 11. If it's okay, put at 12. And then in terms of the line spacing, do 1.15, and then put the margin inch to 1. And always align your text either left because if you justify it, it will cause that overlap. So align them left. That way you will have enough space for you to fit all your content into one page. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Any other?
Okay, great, thank you. And another question is, someone is asking, what could be the maximum word limit for a page of cover letter? What could be the maximum word limit for a page of cover letter? And then someone is asking, do you have any sample cover letter of any field? Do you have any sample cover letter of any field? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so the ideal word count for a cover letter is about 300 words. Yeah, it's about 300 words. So because now you remember the structure that I talked about, where you have the intro, your fit, why them, and then the closing remarks. Yeah. So each of them you must be able to demonstrate that. Yeah. So because people don't want a lot of words because they are basically taking like, I don't know, 1 to 2 minutes to look at the document and simply say that you're not a fit. So maintain maybe around 300 words. If you see that it is exceeding, you can even reduce it further, maybe 250 or something like that. But don't go beyond that because then it will go over and above the page. I hope that answers. And I had some workbook for you on the slide. I hope Bida would be able to share the slide later on with some of the participants, if that's okay. But I can check on the just last pages. Worksheet. Yes, so I have, yeah. So I'll get, okay, so I did not put any sample cover letter on the worksheet. I've not put one, but if necessary, I can add one before tomorrow so that you'll have something to look at the end of the presentation. When you get the slide, you have reference for a cover letter. I hope that's okay. I can add a cover letter for you. Any other question?
There is no other question. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any other question, probably really the purpose of this session is to really help you ask any questions that you may have. That's why you see that we only used 1 hour for the actual presentation, and this
Yeah.
remaining time is meant for Q&A. So it will be nice to ask any questions that you may have about CVs and cover letters. As
It's
explained. Yes, please.
good afternoon. I'm Emmanuel.
Yes, Emanuela, you're welcome.
Thank you. I have a question. A little bit. I hope that's okay. So
Pardon?
I'm saying I have a question, but I might take us back a little bit, and I hope that's
It's
okay.
okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. So I'd say a fresh graduate, not so fresh though, because I've been out of school for a while. Yeah. The job market just isn't so favorable, right? So I've come across job adverts that are, let me say, are like for entry levels, right? So as a fresh graduate, I would think, oh, maybe this is where I could go, right? But then when in the job things, they show that even as an entry level, person, you need at least 2 years of experience, right? So as a fresh graduate, maybe I have done some bit of internship, a few months, about 3 to 4 months. Yeah, I have learned something then, yes. But then how do I tailor my CV for something like that? Because I do consider myself entry level, right? But then when I see the 2 years experience, that completely throws me off. Okay, so I have people who in such a case maybe try to exaggerate your CV a little bit to make it fit the 2 years experience, right? So as a HR, is that something you would advise on, trying to exaggerate my fit this role that I have come across? Yes, because some people say no, just cook, like make up something, try to to fit the 2 years that they're